Just like animals, even plants require a proper transportation system. Although not as efficient as that of humans, plants do have a proper system of transporting substances throughout the body. Let's get to know more about these processes. For transporting water and minerals, we have the xylem. It makes sure that the water is transported vertically upwards from the roots to the leaves. On the other hand, the responsibility of transporting food is taken up by the phloem. Phloem ensures supply of food to all the parts of the plant by transporting it in both the directions. Is this it? Do we have to learn anything more about the transportation system in plants? Well, we know that xylem helps transport water. But do we know what makes the water move through the xylem? How is it possible for the xylem to transport water to a height against the gravity? That's exactly what we learn in this video. Let's understand the process by simplifying it. If we zoom into the root, we find that the cells surrounded by the soil have a tendency to take up the mineral ions from it. Now this causes the difference in the concentration of water inside and outside the roots. Thus, there is a lower water potential inside and higher water potential outside the roots. So what next? We know that water has a tendency to move from higher water concentration to lower water concentration. This can also be framed as water moves from higher water potential to lower water potential. Hence, in this case, we find water entering the root cells. Now the first mission has got accomplished. Root cells could make water enter inside them. But now, the next task is carrying the water up to the maximum height of the plant. And this has to work against the gravity. So how will this be possible? Well, the same principle of water potential is applicable here. Let's recall what we just said. We said that water moves from higher water potential to lower water potential. So if we zoom in further, as we can see here, these cells have received water, so they have a higher water potential. But the adjacent cell does not have it. So the water potential is lower in them. As a result, water moves to the adjacent cell. And in the same way, it travels further up. Wait a second. If water moves forward due to difference in water potential, then are there chances that it moves backwards as well? Because now the previously filled cells have gotten empty, right? No, this doesn't happen. Because the moment the water leaves this cell, it gets filled again due to water entering from the soil. And as water keeps getting absorbed by the roots, water keeps moving ahead, and this makes it travel through the xylem to the top. So can we say that water moves through the xylem because of difference in the water potential? Yes, absolutely. And this phenomenon in which water rises up in the xylem due to pressure difference from the roots can be termed as root pressure. It is one of the most important processes that helps in transporting water in the plant body. So till now we have been talking about small plants. But what about the huge trees? They will not be an exception to the transportation system because they require water too for photosynthesis. So for instance, say we think about the giant redwood trees in California. They're really tall and their average height is more than 300 feet. That's really tall, right? Approximately 30 to 35 floors. Do you think root pressure is enough for transporting water to this massive height? Not really. Then how will the system work? If sending substances against the gravity is difficult, then the tree can think of pulling the water from above, right? But who pulls the water up with such a great force? We only have leaves up above on the trees. So is it the leaves? Not exactly the leaves themselves, but the activity performed by leaves helps in this process. Yes, we are familiar with the process of transpiration. It is simply the loss of water vapor from the stomatal openings of the leaves. How will this process help in the rising of the water level? It's simple. We know that water molecules exhibit cohesion, the property of sticking to one another. So the molecules of water remain attached to each other in the column of xylem. Now when water is lost from the stomata, it creates a negative pressure on these water particles present in xylem. As a result, due to the suction force, they move upwards. and since they are clinging to each other, all the molecules move together in the upward direction. This is how, due to suction or simply the transpirational pull, water can be transported up by the huge trees. The root pressure helps, yes, but the transpirational pull is the most important phenomenon that causes the upward movement of water in the xylem. Well, this was about how transportation exactly occurs in plants. With this, we come to an end of the process of transportation in both plants as well as animals.